So there's quite a lot of evidence showing that humans evolved as carnivores, and more than that, that we evolved because our ancestors went carnivore, and there was the ice ages that started about 2.5–3 million years ago, and this obviously killed a lot of plants, killed a lot of animals that ate the plants, and so our ancestors were close to carnivore, but maybe not quite, and the ones that survived were the ones that were able to live as carnivores in the ice times because there were no plants available, and so they had to be able to hunt and eat these large mammals like mammoths and so forth. So if you look at the fossil record, this is what we see. We look at studies such as the stable isotope study, and they've done stable isotope studies for all sorts of different things at all sorts of different times. And we find that humans and our ancestors had a very high carnivore rating. So they are able to see exactly how removed you are from eating plants, and the more removed you are means the more you may eat plants, so you're here. You may eat animals that eat plants, so you're here. You may eat animals that eat plants, you're here, and it goes up from there up the food chain. Okay, so our ancestors had like the highest carnivore rating. We had a higher carnivore rating than other carnivores alive at the same time, such as wolves, foxes, lions, hyenas, and so forth, alive at the same time in the same area. Okay, so we were eating these lions and hyenas and foxes and so forth, as well as the herbivores and so forth that ate plants. Okay, so we're top of the food chain, apex predators. These are terms that get bandied around, and then we all of a sudden, think that salad is good for you. Apex predators don't graze. Name one example in the wild where apex predators predominantly eat plant-based material or any plant-based material. Okay, maybe bears, they eat some berries and things like that, but that's basically it. Dolphins don't, certainly sharks don't, whales don't, all these sorts of things. So there's an Israeli study that looked at all sorts of different studies and all sorts of different points of information, and concluded that humans were hypercarnivores for 2 to 2.5 million years. This aligns with those ice ages. Okay, hypercarnivore means they just ate meat and so forth. I think the term hypercarnivore gets used loosely now. It means you just eat like 70% of your calories are from meat. This means that you did not eat plants, according to this study. Okay, so the fossil record is very interesting as well. Our skeleton has changed since the agricultural revolution. Our brains are 11% smaller than they were prior to the agricultural revolution for adult males on average. Okay, our teeth are different. You don't see cavities or crooked teeth or misshapen jaws or small jaws in the fossil record pre-agricultural revolution. Okay, so archaeologists can actually tell if a skeleton is pre or post agricultural revolution based on its teeth and its jaw, because they'll have misformed teeth. They'll be really crooked. They might have a lot of dental problems and so forth, rotten teeth and cavities, and their jaws won't be as big. So these people were all getting their wisdom teeth, and people 100 years ago were generally all getting their wisdom teeth. Now, like, almost no one gets their wisdom teeth, and all their teeth are crooked and so forth. And this is a nutritional deficit. There are a lot of studies and articles in various dentistry journals and so forth that talk about this. Generally, it's vitamin K2, which doesn't exist in plants, and you have that deficiency. This works with calcium and vitamin D3 and so forth, and K1 as well, and these all help form proper teeth and jaws. So crooked teeth are not genetic. Crooked teeth are malnutrition. Okay, so if you don't want to spend money on the orthodontist, give your kid a steak. Okay, it's going to be cheaper in the long run for that and a lot of other reasons as well. Okay, and I look at native populations. Just starting with the Native Americans in North America. You have like the Plains Indians who just ate buffalo and so forth. They live to be great age. There's a lot of studies and things like that, and different people like Dr. Salisbury, Dr. J.H. Salisbury, for whom the Salisbury steak was named after. He studied these guys. He studied all these different populations and looked at people and what they ate and how they lived and how healthy they were and how long they lived. And and he was talking about back in the 1800s how these guys were living 110, 115, 120 years old, and people sort of scoff at that. And, oh, that's just them saying that. However, We know as geneticists for 20 years now that genetically our average lifespan is 120 years. So meaning that if you just stay out of your own way and don't mess up, you should make it to 120 years without doing anything special. Okay, so why are we dying in our 60s and 70s? Why do we call that normal? If someone says like, they 78 years old, they died, like, oh well, they had a good life. That's literally middle age. That's 78 would be late middle age. Okay, but they've got 40 years ahead of them on average if you look at our genetics. Okay, but we're not making it anywhere near that. Okay, it's remarkable when someone makes it to 100 or over 100. Okay, that should be the norm. All right, and it was the norm for them, living as Stone Age nomads, not in a nursing home turning to dust for 40 years, but with a pack on their back following the buffalo herds day in and day out. These guys were very healthy, very hale and hardy, and you had to be to live out in the wild like that.